morning, everyone. I am Dr. Sonali Mohapatra, Space Applications Lead at Craft Prospect. And today I'm here to talk to you about global quantum-enabled security for a post-quantum world. Today, our world is the data-centric world. The amount of data generated each day is 463 exabytes every single day. Now, I don't know how many zeros that is, but it is a lot of zeros. 6.1 billion people use digital transactions today. By 2030, 9 out of 10 people aged 6 and above would be digitally active. Now, what does that mean? Massive amounts of sensitive data generated every day, massive amounts of billions of dollars generated every day. And all of these transactions are vulnerable to cybersecurity attacks. Today, all of these transactions are protected by cybersecurity companies, by our cybersecurity networks. And cybersecurity companies use secure keys to protect this data. These secure keys are capable of withstanding cyber attacks from classical computers. And so for a long time, everything was all right. However, today, we're moving very fast to a quantum world. The new quantum world, or the second quantum revolution, basically means that today we are able to manipulate extremely tiny particles, quantum particles, single quantum particles, such as photons or electrons, which are less than 10 to the power minus 15 meters. And we are able to produce technologies, invent technologies which can measure what we didn't used to be able to measure before, or which can already measure stuff more precisely and better. And this has a variety of opportunities for the human world. We're able to produce quantum computers, which are amazing because they use quantum bits, which have access to not just zeros and ones, such as a classical bit in a classical computers, but a host of other states. And so this allows them to be much more powerful and much more faster in computing multiple different kinds of problems. Many kinds of optimization problems that are very hard to crack today in today's world will be super easy to crack once quantum computers are on the market. And lo and behold, quantum computers are already in the market. And it is predicted that by 2027, commercial scale quantum computers will be already in the market. Now, a lot of good things will come out of this, but what does this mean for our current cybersecurity? As an example of a hard problem, which is used in current cybersecurity, take the example of finding the prime factors for large numbers. This is a hard problem, which used to take classical computers a large amount of time to crack. But with quantum computers, this becomes a super easy problem to crack. And so you see what Michal Moshka from the Quantum Computing Institute has to say about this. Harnessing the power of quantum mechanics for large-scale quantum computers will allow us to solve many valuable problems for humanity. But we must first face the catastrophic impact of bringing cybersecurity off the table by developing and deploying a suite of quantum-safe cryptographic tools before quantum computers arrive. Now, just how catastrophic is going to be the impact of these quantum computers on our current public key encryption, symmetric or asymmetric? As you can see from the side, Grover's search algorithm will effectively cut the cryptographic bit strength of symmetric quantum cryptographic algorithms in half. Quantum computers running Shor's algorithm will be able to break today's asymmetric cryptography altogether. I've seen some calculations which say that some of these problems which used to take classical computers more than the lifetime of the universe will take a quantum computer less than a minute to crack. And so this is a huge risk because a lot of our vulnerable data is at risk here. A lot of millions of dollars are at risk. And if you closely track the cybercrime syndicates and the value of the global cybercrime industry, it is going up as well with the rise of quantum computers. So a lot of people could be storing valuable data right now on their computers, waiting for commercial scale quantum computers to come on the market, and then basically crack those data then. So the time to think about post-quantum cryptography is right now. What can we do to save our world from a post-quantum computing world? There are a couple of different options. One of them are quantum-resistant algorithms. These quantum-resistant algorithms, again, use hard-to-solve mathematical problems, but the pro is that they integrate more easily into existing IT infrastructure, and so they might be much more easier to start adopting right now. However, these are not proven to be perfectly secure, And these are subject to future quantum discoveries and advancements because these are also algorithm-based. So if there's a better quantum computer in the future, then that could potentially crack these quantum-resistant algorithms as well. However, we have another kind of quantum cryptography, for example, quantum key distribution, which is proven to be secure against future technological advancements as well. So what is quantum key distribution? Quantum key distribution is a mechanism of sharing a quantum key between two users, such as Alice and Bob, which is a secure key and is proven to be secure against all kinds of eavesdropping, even by quantum computers. So basically, Alice, who is the receiver here, let's say, wants to establish a secure key with Bob. And so Alice is going to take single quantum particles, such as photons, and will encode information in the quantum states of this photon, such as polarization states of these photons, and will send those photons through fiber optic cables or through atmospheric channel, free atmospheric channel to Bob. And after a long process of reconciliation, error correction, and post-processing using a public classical channel which is authenticated, Alice and Bob would have established a secure quantum key. Since this key is quantum, it has some quantum properties, such as if we have an eavesdropper, such as our beloved Nessie, then, and Nessie wants to basically measure one of those quantum states to find out what is the key that Alice is sending to Bob, then this is going to alter the wave function of the quantum system. And so will always leave a trace that somebody is trying to interfere with our system. After post-processing, we will always be able to find out how much amount of information did Nessie manage to take from this interaction. And so if this key is unsecure, we will always be able to discard it by finding traces of Nessie interacting with our system. So it's great. We will be able to use this secure key for future secure communications. However, what happens? However, there are some limitations to this kind of quantum key distribution. And limitations include that these kind of quantum key distribution protocols over fiber optic cables or through atmosphere are actually distance limited. Sending more than 500 meters, if Alice and Bob are basically like divided by 500 meters or more, then this means that due to the channel losses, Bob would not be able to receive all of the photons or most of the photons that Alice is sending. And so this makes it very difficult for us to envision a global quantum cybersecurity system which can be rolled out all across the world. So what if I want to establish a secure quantum key between myself here in the UK and somebody in Canada, for example? This is not possible using fiber optic cables. So even though terrestrial quantum key distribution is already out in the market and we have already established quite a few different terrestrial QKD infrastructure around the world, this is not a solution for global quantum cybersecurity. Then what is the solution? The solution is that I and somebody in Canada with whom I want to talk to can come to a collaboration and an agreement. I set up a ground station here, they set up a ground station there. We send up a satellite, which is a trusted node by both of us by agreement. This satellite is going to go over myself first. The satellite opens a quantum channel and downloads a quantum secure key to me. The satellite then goes over in its orbit to the Canadian ground station and downloads a quantum channel and quantum key to that ground station as well. And so effectively, the satellite acts as a relay between myself and my intended receiver in Canada. And because we are going to be using LEO orbits, low Earth orbits, which are 500 to 600 kilometers, then basically this is within the distance limitation of the travel of quantum particles without the channel being too lossy. They only encounter atmosphere over the last tens of kilometers maybe. And so most of the time it is empty space, which does not have a lot of particles. And so the photons can travel without being impeded by a lot of obstacles in the atmosphere. Now, this is all well and good, but putting quantum systems on spacecrafts or satellites is a lot of work. And we have to devise quite different kinds of, we have to manufacture these quantum sources quite well to be space hardy, to be radiation hardy, to be small enough that they fit into various different kinds of satellites, and so on. And so in my rest of the talk, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the upcoming ROKS mission, in which we are going to be showcasing that we can do satellite to Earth quantum key distribution for the first time using small satellites. Now, why small satellites? Because a quantum internet or global quantum cybersecurity solution would require a constellation of satellites around the Earth. If we send up conventional satellites, such as 600 kilograms, really big satellites, which used to be sent up by space agencies such as ISRO or NASA, then these are very high risk. These are huge. They take a large team to build them. They take a long time to build them and to deploy. They also cost a lot, so that if we lose one of these satellites, then it's going to be many years again till we can send up another one. And this is where smaller satellites come in, because they have more risk appetites. They are much less costly to build. They're easier and faster to deploy. And we can also use a lot of commercial off-the-shelf components to directly put them into CubeSats and deploy them. This is what a CubeSat looks like. So they come in various sizes of units, such as 1U, which is 10 centimeter times 10 centimeter times 10 centimeters. They can be quite small. This is actually quite a large loaf of bread that you see on the right-hand side here. But basically, a 6U CubeSat would be like the cereal box, that size. And so basically, we can deploy these small satellites into LEO orbits around the world, and we can connect all of these small satellites using inter-satellite links for communicating secure keys between the satellites, as well as with optical ground stations, which look like this at various places around the world. The optical ground station locks onto the satellite, the quantum channel opens, it awaits key receiving, and there you go. The polarization of photons, which encode information, come down into the ground station, and both Alice and Bob will have to do some kind of post-processing, and the satellite will also have to do some kind of post-processing. And then you have established a final secure key, which can be used for communications, and which is also secure from attacks from any kind of quantum computers in the future. We are going to be demoing this in 2 upcoming missions. One is ROKS mission, which is a responsive operation for key services, which is operated by Crack Prospect. It's our flagship mission, and it will be ready for launch by the end of 2022. The other mission that we are delivering a quantum source to is the KeySat mission, which is primed by the Honeywell in Canada and partnered with the Canadian Space Agency, as well as the University of Waterloo. The making of a CubeSat QKD payload actually has multiple different kinds of layers in it. You would have computer modes, you would have a software protocol layer, you would have embedded systems, electrical and other hardware, and lots of optical systems such as lasers, LEDs, mirrors, and telescopes. And over the life cycle of all of these different kind of things, you will have installation and maintenance. You will need to have some kind of application interface, which interfaces into current computing systems, as well as maybe smartphones or IoTs, if you want to actually roll out cybersecurity, quantum cybersecurity as a service. It will have multiple different kinds of driver and calibration algorithms. It will also have other quantum technologies, such as a quantum random number generators, which is critical to ensure that the random numbers we use for cybersecurity are truly random. And then we have a lot of tiny optics, which you can see in this little box. We have many different kinds of like ROKS and lenses and so on. And so we worked with our partners with the University of Bristol to take a huge big lab optics table and then miniaturize that quite heavily into something that can fit on the top of my palm and can go inside this CubeSat bus. But there are other problems, such as what happens if there is a cloud cover on top of these ground stations. These are quite weak quantum laser pulses, which we are downlinking onto ground stations. And so if there is weather conditions such as cloud cover, then this means that we might actually waste a pass, we might actually waste an orbit of the satellite. And we do not really want to do that, because we want to use as much less resources as possible, because we have limited resources on board, small satellites. And so ROKS is also going to be using our other product known as a forward-sticking imager, which has lightweight neural networks and imaging systems on board to look ahead, maybe 4 minutes ahead into the future, take lots of images of the cloud cover, use its low power real-time AI and onboard intelligence to detect whether there is a critical amount of cloud cover which is going to impede the downlink of these quantum keys. If it does, then this computer on board is also capable of doing automated and assured decision-making, which it will use to point the satellite towards a different ground station in the area so that it does not have to lose that pass. And so ROKS has multiple different kinds of things which we had to basically develop from scratch along with our partners, such as optical beam steering, which includes a CubeSat telescope, which fits into less than 1.5 U of size, a quantum key laser source, which is a first ever quantum WCP quantum source developed in the world, which is compatible with CubeSats, as well as many different kinds of secured assured computing. If you look at the satellite QKD timeline, basically we are here where lots of demo missions and initial operating capabilities are being showcased. By 2025, we would have increased key generation rates, and we would have integrated QKD into existing FSO terminals as well. By 2035, we want to go towards mega constellations and basically aim to build a global quantum internet. And this requires quite a lot of enabling generation 2 and next gen technologies, such as pointing technologies, quantum repeaters, integrated modular optics. And some of these have been developed by Quark Prospect on the back of the ROKS mission. So as you can see in this slide, we offer quantum sources with various different kinds of accessories, such as the QRNGs, alignment lasers, power monitors, and so on. We offer beam steering, end-to-end beam steering and alignment. We have a CubeSat telescope, which has been developed with a partner at Fraunhofer, CAP, and the Payload computer. In our current autonomous systems offerings, we have obviously the forward-looking imager, which does the cloud detection and cloud avoidance, but we also offer quite a lot of different algorithms, bespoke algorithms, as part of our AI toolbox, which does a lot of real-time data processing as well as product creation, and it helps us to get around the limitations of resources in small satellites. So a lot of work has matured now. We are almost ready to launch our satellite, but we are doing all of this for the very first time. So a lot of innovation has been required as part of this. Quantum sources, manipulating single photons, long distance entanglement and teleportation for some people, and miniaturization of electronics and devices. But we also have to make sure that all of these are radiation hardy. A lot of these tiny instruments need to be made from materials which do not break during launch. And we have to figure out how to fit everything in a CubeSat. But also because we use a lot of commercial off-the-shelf components as well as computing systems, we have to make sure that the entire security chain is secure and not just the quantum key distribution part. And at the end of it, we also have to figure out how do we stop all the possible attacks that can happen for a particular quantum protocol that we use in one of these systems. For us, we use a protocol known as the BB84 protocol, and we try and align ourselves to global ETSI standards so that we can provide a compliance matrix to our customers and let them know the different kinds of attacks that we have already taken care of. We also include a power monitoring system, which can monitor the output of the quantum source and can alert if anything is different to what is expected in a quantum system. And basically, this brings me to the end of my presentation talks. And thank you so much for listening to me and for inviting me today. And I hope that together we can walk towards a global quantum network and smart, secure space. Thank you very much. Bye.